For this tutorial, you'll need some yarn. I am using I Love This yarn. It is 100% acrylic, 355 yards, 325 meters, and it is a 4 medium weight. If you do not have this yarn on hand, you'll just need a 4 medium weight yarn. And the color that I'm using today is called Rosy Cheeks. I did not use the full skein of yarn. I actually had a little bit of yarn left. This is how much I had left. You'll also want a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook or an eye hook. You'll also need a pair of scissors, a tape measure, and a yarn needle only if you are not wanting to add a fringe. To start our scarf, you'll want to leave a little bit of a tail. We're then going to do a slip knot. If you're not sure how to do that, I will link a video here for you. And we're going to be doing 20 chains. Once you get to 20, I'll meet you back here. Okay, so I now have my 20 chains. This is going to be the width of the scarf. My scarf ended up being about 7 inches wide. Now this scarf is easily adjustable, so if you want it to be much wider, just go ahead and chain until you have it the width that you would like. So we're going to take our chain and we are going to turn it so that we see the back loops here of our stitches. And we are going to go into that second back loop. Here's the first, and we're going to go into the second one with a half double crochet. So yarn over, we'll put our hook through that back loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3. We'll do the same thing into the next back loop here. And this is what we're going to do all the way across our first row. We're just going to half double crochet into those back loops. If you are not sure how to half double crochet, I will link a video here for you. So once you've done your half double crochets across this row, I'll meet you back here. So at the end of every row, you'll want to go back and count your stitches and make sure that you have 19 stitches going across. Now this depends on how many chains you started with. So for example, if you started with 35 chains, you'll now have 34 chains. You'll have 1 less chain. So we're now going to chain 1 and we're going to turn our work. We're going to skip this first one here. That was our turning chain. And we're going to half double crochet into the next stitch. And then we'll do that again in our next stitch. And we are just doing this again all the way across the row. So once you get to the end of this row, I'll meet you back here. We're now going to chain 1 and turn our work. Again, we will not go into the turning chain, so we are going to yarn over and we're going to go into this next stitch here. And a half double crochet into the next one. So again, we're just doing half double crochets all the way across this row. And that is what you're going to be doing for the entire length of the scarf. You will just be doing half double crochet stitches. And I find it makes such a beautiful, beautiful design and texture. My scarf ended up being approximately 60 inches. I crocheted 113 rows. So just go ahead and continue crocheting until you get your scarf to the length that you would like. So once you get the scarf to the length that you'd like, at the end of your last row, you're going to chain 1, and then we're going to cut our yarn. Just leave a good tail here. And now we're just going to take our yarn and we're going to pull that through and tighten that. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to add some fringe to your scarf. And if you do not want fringe, you can leave the fringe off and just take the tail ends on both ends of your scarf. Take your yarn needle and then weave that back and forth. But if you would like fringe, I'm going to show you how to do that now. We're going to take our yarn and we're going to measure out about 12 inches. And now we're going to just kind of pull some more yarn along to the end of that 12 inches. And we are going to go back and forth like that with our yarn. And then once you get a good handful there, we're going to cut our yarn at the end here. And then at the ends here where all the loops are, you're going to cut those loops. And we'll do that on the other side too. Now grab 2 strands of the yarn we just cut. And at the end here, we're going to actually include this into our fringe. So we can take this yarn and just lay it this way on our scarf. And then in the last stitch here, we're going to put our crochet hook through there. And then we're going to grab our yarn pieces and we're going to pull that through. And you can pull it through a little bit here so you can have a big loop at the end. You can now take the tail end here and just include that with the rest of your strands. And we are going to pull all those strands through this loop. And then you can pull that tight, grab another 2 strands, put our hook through the next stitch, and pull that yarn through. And then we're going to take our strands here and put it through the loops, and then pull that. So what I've done for mine is I put 2 strands into every single stitch all the way to the very end here. I'll do a couple more with you. Grab 2 more strands, we'll go into that next stitch. Then pull our strands through that loop and pull it snug. Now if you do not want that much fringe going across, that's totally fine. You can, what I would do is put some fringe in both ends. So let's put some fringe in this last stitch. Pull that through. And then once you added some fringe on both ends of the scarf here, then you can just evenly space out the rest of the fringe in between there. So you can go ahead and add all your fringe all the way across. And once you have your fringe all the way across, I'll meet you back. And now you'll just want to straighten out the fringe here, straighten out all the yarn. And you can cut it as short or as long as you would like it to be. I think I'm going to cut mine probably about here. Now at this point you can measure how long your tassels are to get it about the same length on the other side of your scarf. But what I am going to do is I'm taking the other side of my fringe, the side that I have not trimmed yet, and then I'm going to take this side and match it up. Just want to straighten out all that yarn. And then you can just trim it to be the same as the other side. You now have a beautiful scarf to wrap up in on those cold winter days. If this video was helpful, please give me a like below, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.